First Alert Weather with meteorologist Rachel Coulter.
We've seen a few showers and storms here as we've started off the work week already, but that coverage is really about to pick up late Wednesday on into Thursday, which could continue through a good portion of our Thursday as well. We're expecting rounds of heavy rainfall, thunderstorms to be impacting the area, so flash flooding and even that severe risk will be some of the main concerns that we're going to be tracking going forward from here, thanks to this cold front that's eventually going to push overhead and then eventually just stall out over parts of the Carolinas. And wherever this stalls out, that's where we're going to see those higher end rain totals from this setup. You'll see several severe thunderstorm warnings, tornado warnings, flash flood warnings in place along this front at this time. Here's what we're watching for here at home in terms of our severe threat. So isolated to scattered severe storms possible tomorrow. And then we're also going to be watching for that scattered instance of flash flooding potential over the course of the entire area. Eastern parts of North Carolina, not only on Wednesday, but also Thursday, have that level 3 out of 4 risk for excessive rainfall. So numerous instances of flash flooding possible out towards the east. So let's talk about the morning hours. We could still see some remnants of some of those storms I just showed you to the north and west overnight into the morning hours. In some of our mountain communities, that severe threat would be much, much lower here than what we're seeing off towards the north and west. But it's driving home from work. We really start to see that rain coverage pick up from northwest to southeast and then overnight. So as you head off to bed Wednesday night and wake up Thursday morning, that's when we're expecting the coverage and the intensity of those showers and storms to be at their highest. Some heavy downpours are going to be a possibility. And then finally, we'll start to see that coverage and intensity taper off just a little bit for us by Thursday evening, but we'll still keep those shower and storm chances in the forecast to round out the week and head into the weekend. And just looking at Wednesday night and Thursday, so not even accounting for the rain that we're expecting heading into the weekend, we could see widespread 1 to 3 inches of rainfall. And should that front stall out overhead, especially over our southeastern counties, I would not be surprised to see some higher totals even than that. So check back in for those frequent forecast updates. The other big part of the story, we go from the 90s to the 70s. We're forecasting a high temperature of 79 degrees by Thursday afternoon, 80 degrees by Friday, low 80s by Saturday. So much cooler air in the forecast here, wrapping up the rest of the week, starting off the weekend. By Sunday, temperatures do recover. We're back into the upper 80s, a little bit closer to where we'll be for the rest of the evening, but eventually we'll see the low 90s back in the 7-day. It's still going to be hot and humid this evening. I will say that isolated shower storm risk will continue. Still could see a strong storm. We'll monitor radar for you, keep you updated on air, online through that First Alert Weather app as needed. But this weekend, temperatures go from the 80s to eventually the 90s at the start of next week. But definitely keep that First Alert Weather app handy, your umbrella handy, and check in with us for radar updates here over the next couple of days.
Yeah, that app is going to be busy, I think, the next few days.